Good evening. If you would like to listen to a 40-year-old grown adult drone on for about 10 minutes about a setup that I was just as curious about as you all might be, you've come to the right place. So on the Patreon journey using the Them shell with the Wizard frame, I tried the small shell with 90s. I tried the large shell with 100s. 90s worked. 100s did not. 100s were sloppy. Haven't tried 80 millimeter frames on these yet. Just 4x80s. That's still in the cards. This one I was so curious about. Because like others that are probably watching, you probably watched the Junkyu footage before the brain dead edit. You saw him absolutely killing it in these skates, and then you thought to yourself, I don't have to get a Wizard boot, could I just get a Wizard frame and use it with this boot? We all had that thought. And then we also had the thought, probably like watching Dustin Latimer in the original Mook edit, like, oh, I'll be able to do all that in those frames. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's the talent of the skater or the setup will actually improve your experience. And I will say, I had no idea the Brain Dead Them Wizard collab, I had no idea it was happening. I was just as surprised as everybody else. And then I had this moment where I thought, like, I can't believe Leon, who's so picky about setups and what boots to use with the Wizard frame, would sign off on the collab. And then I thought about it, and then I was like, oh yeah, so Junkyu makes them look really good. Leon did that one video where he tried the Danny Beer skate with the 90 millimeter Kaiser frames, and it looked like it worked pretty good. But I was skeptical because I had used the 90s on these, which, good to go. 90 millimeters good. 100s, no go. Too high off the ground, too wobbly. And now, I put out the edit. Does this work? I am very surprised to report that I do, in fact, love this setup. Little bit of slop. You can see in the edit, there's a clear point where I do a fakie carve and I try and turn it forwards and my arms go like this. I'll tell you what really works about this setup. First of all, it's 80 millimeter. This is an earlier version prototype, like one of the early prototypes of the 80 millimeter Wizard frame. So the newer ones are lower, but because 90s worked, obviously 80 is going to work. 80 works on a lot of different aggressive boots. So right there, you're lower to the ground, even lower if you have one of the newer Wizard frames. The biggest thing is this cuff. I'm skating Aeons right now, and my Wizard setup, I have a cuff that I can just fully bend. I've been trying to figure out what cuff to put on that boot to get it to feel new again, but like I guess you can kind of bend. See, that's still quite new. My Wizard cuff, I can just fully bend it all the way down. And the buckle on my Wizard boot, it's like a razor's buckle, and the cuff on my Aeons, the cuffs that I've been skating on other boots are almost non-existent. They barely work, and you can barely get them done up tight. This cuff and buckle, mixed with the thickness of and the really good internal support, it's hard to explain, on the Intuition liner, the stuff that wraps around your heel bones, you can tighten this so much and get it just completely compressed around your ankle that the response on the rest of the skate is actually quite good. And another thing that was noticeable is, although the UFS bolts go through just the sole plate, the bridge hardware gives really good lateral support when you're going this way and this way. The sloppiness, however, comes in everybody will know this, that the small is too small, the medium is too big. So right in here is a little bit sloppy, but super comfortable. This is a really comfortable ride that you could just have these on all day if you're in the proper size for yourself and have a great time. I had so much fun. You know, you're in a good setup that when you're filming, you're just consistently coming up with movements, and somebody commented, I'm just as like oversaturated with wizard skating where it probably doesn't look as special as it does unless you're Junkyu or some others, but like the skating I was doing was nothing special, but the fact that I was able to do it on this setup and that it was fun and felt really good, yeah, I'm just as surprised as anybody else might be that I do approve of this setup. I also love the idea of now, like, I have so many different them boots and liners that I can mix things up. I can get new cuffs really easily. So when you look at a slalom skate or like a free skate, it is really important to have a instep strap, and then the super pro slalom skates like that FR Mike, they have that strap that goes across here. So it is missing that the hardcore support here and here, but in terms of an aggressive skate or a street skate, if you want to call it that, that works well with the PR. This would work amazing with the PR76, PR80, and the 90mm wizards. I would recommend definitely get the PR80 if you're in the medium, and then the PR76 if you're in the small shell. And look at how good this setup looks. I was surprised. I want to put like art or stickers along here now. Because I've made posts before that like Create Originals was the graphic display technology, but then you look at a wizard frame and then it just made so much sense that Braindead would use this as graphic display. It's been a long time coming that something gets released that uses this whole thing like a, I've even said before, if you could have a top sheet like on skis, there's a lot to be done with this. And it's super fun to skate. Three things that I've said probably ad nauseum that you might be sick of. This medium shell would be incredible. A crank strap or some kind of a, not like a, either a ratchet or a Velcro. I would probably prefer a ratchet strap. It's a little soft here, but you can get the laces really tight on these. And then lastly, I don't know how hard this would be or how expensive it would be, but if this boot had lace locks, like if there was a big wheel specific them skate, they would be good for street skating too, but like lace locks and a strap would go a long way. And then the problem of this feeling a little sloppy would be solved by just the Schmedium shell. But overall, like if you're on the fence, if you do get the Braindead one, get it, put a them intuition in it, or get the premiums. It's hard because the premium doesn't fit perfect depending on the foot size. It doesn't fit perfect in all the shells. But yeah, fully approved. We'll be skating this a lot. I've also told Todd that he needs to get on this. This is quite fun. Oh, one last thing. So there's a heel lift here on the frame. There's a heel lift in the boot. I have the shock absorber in, and there's a heel lift in my super feet insole. So I'm ultra heel lift man in this setup, and it feels really good. Keep skating or something. Fully approved and mostly dialed setup. The them 909 with the PR80. Who knew? I didn't know. I wasn't expecting it to be that good.